Friends, you are welcome to today's poetry series with Isokare Francis Ololo. We shall be considering poetry number 183. The title is, As the mirror is useless to the man who sleeps, so is fame to the man who is not prepared for it. Explained by the story, the child will become one of the most famous men in the land. That was the prophetess speaking from her trance-like state as she held the ailing baby in her arms and stood trembling. Her husband watched the baby intently with anxiety stamped on his face. This baby, their only child after 12 years of barren marriage, was suffering from a strange illness which baffled all rational senses. The baby was only 6 months old, but the child had bouts of sicknesses it suffered spanning 6 years. On daily basis, a convulsion which bordered on a fit made the baby relapse into unconsciousness that made everyone who truly cared to shiver. They had taken the baby to all the potent medical practitioners in the land to no avail. There were no orthodox hospitals then. All they knew were herbalists, priests, and priestesses. Then the strong king of Kata ruled the mighty kingdom of the agonists. The couple involved were his humble servants. The man, Ochide, served as his bodyguard, and his wife, Ochoma, was a cook in the queen's kitchen. They lived in their own apartment located in the king's palace. This was quite a privilege. They had no higher claim to greatness beyond this. They were happily married. The happiness in their marriage had, however, been threatened by barrenness until the boy was born to the family rather unexpectedly. As if the gods wanted to tease them, since the child arrived, there had been constant visible threats of him being taken away from them. Hardly a day passed when the child did not fall alarmingly ill. They had consequently roamed nearly all the medicinal centers and shrines in their search for succor. Now, here they were with the prophet Inzeoma, whose words were known never to fail. The baby, she assured them, would not only survive, but be very famous in the land. If this is so, said the man to the prophetess, let this child become your servant. Let my wife live here with you. I will come every week to check on his progress. Just let the child be your servant if he will truly become the famous person that you predict him to be. The prophetess looked deeply into the man's eyes and told him, in that case, your child would become a servant that would have to sweep the compound and serve all thy visitors as if he were a slave. Yet he is going to be greater than I am telling you. That is why I want you to live with you. That is why I want him to live with you. He must be grilled in humility and servitude if he is truly to be the great person you say he will be. It is because I want to enhance his chances of greatness that I don't want him to live with us in the great king's palace. The priestess smiled and said, "This is not your wish, and these are not your words. It is the gods that are speaking through you. Your wish will be done, but your wife must return with you. Leave the baby in my care. You may come every week as you wish." So the baby boy was left in the care of the prophetess Izoma. He grew into a strong boy who served the priestess and all who came to her. This was how the king noticed the lad. He had come to see the prophetess for spiritual reasons, having no idea that he was the child of his own servants. He admired him greatly, first for his handsomeness and then for his servitude. "You will be a great soldier in my army," the king declared, and then ordered that he be brought into his palace. As promised, his parents had kept visiting every week and were pleased to see him grow. When the king asked that he be brought to the palace, however, the prophetess advised them to not claim him as their child. The king was to be told that the child belonged to the prophetess herself. The couple had no problem with this. So they were in the palace when the prophetess brought the young man, but showed no sign that they knew him. The young man was drafted into the army and made a member of the king's special guards. Soon he became famous for his bravery. The king sent him on only special missions. He was on one of those missions, far from the king, when one of the girls murdered the king and seized the throne. The king's sons fled. The people were not pleased with the new king due to his haughtiness. Much as he had prepared to kill the king, his character was not groomed for fame. Even his utterances were abhorrent. The people clamored for only one person, Dimsu, the great but humble Dimsu, as he was called, was summoned to come and take over. The new king fled even before he arrived at the head of his troops. He was made king immediately by popular request. The prophetess and his parents smiled on. The prophecy had come to pass indeed, and he had been groomed for it through humble servitude, unlike his predecessor. The takeaways here are that good leaders are, in most cases, raised from humble backgrounds. Their early experiences shape their empathy for the led. How about that, friends? God bless you.